Hello everyone, thank you for coming this meeting today. Our department is going to provide an iRoom for the use of facilitating the teaching and training of multidisciplinary VDC BIM for students majored in architecture, landscape, real estate and construction management.
So we have decided to convert KB531 into the iRooms, and the iRooms will be a multi-purpose room which is used as the conference room and the tutorial room. Do you guys have any ideas or suggestions? Did you encounter any inconvenience when you're using KB531?
Yeah, of course. We do have experienced a lot of troubles in KB531.
Yeah, sometimes when I am sitting at the back, it is quite hard for me to see the contents shown on the screen.
Same for me. I've been always asked to sit at the back because I'm tall, but the words are too small to be read. I almost need to take a binocular with me for every lesson.
I see you're concerned. I will take note about this problem. Anything else?
I wonder what you guys use the rooms for usually.
We always use that room for tutorials, and it is another problem for the room raised by professors and classmates before.
We are difficult to chat. No, to discuss. The tables are long and wide, and they are not movable within the space. We can't form small groups to discuss the tutorial questions. We almost need to shout to voice out our ideas, and it creates noise that would have disturbed others.
So another problem associated with KB531 is about the inflexible table arrangement. Is there any other problems in KB531?
Yes, the room is too cold that I can't sleep well.
You always sleep in class?
No. I'm just kidding. But it's true that we can't control the air conditioning system easily to have comfortable room temperature.
So any other problems?
I guess nothing more.
Okay, thank you very much for your valuable opinions. We will discuss with the project team in due course. Have a good day.
Now, the first question you may ask is, what is VDC? Generally speaking, virtual design and construction, VDC is the use of integrated multidisciplinary performance models. It is virtual in nature, which demonstrates the interaction among product, organization, and process in design and construction process with regards to the functional objectives. To begin with, a POP-FFB model is introduced. This matrix helps explain the relationship of the functions, forms, and behavior with respect to the product, organization, and process from the design and construction process. The POP model can be analoged to the following examples from family affairs. For the product model, it aims at comparing different kinds of product available in the market, say smartboard in an iRoom, and to choose the most suitable one to meet the functional requirements. The same applies to purchase the ingredients for meal cooking. You may have to design one from those different brands of soy sauce for meal. During the decision-making process, you may have considered several criteria, like the meal to be cooked, cost, and usage frequency. This model is essential to the cost estimation at earlier stage and helps simulate the BIM in the design process. For organization model, it is often to make an organization chart to illustrate the roles and relationship of different stakeholders involved in the construction project. In the family cone chart could be drawn to divide the work to different family members. Process model is another important model in the construction industry. Gantt chart will be drawn to show the time of critical path of the whole construction process and help the project manager to arrange the site work effectively in terms of cash flow or flexibility on the construction sequence. Similarly, the meal preparation process involves well planning upon the division of labor on the specialities of the members in order to cook the successful dish effectively. In this iRoom project, a B+ level POP model has been created for project definition. It includes 25 products, 10 stakeholders, and at least 10 tasks corresponding to the responsible parties and associated physical objects. The objects are designated to tackle the current problems raised by the users and to improve or upgrade this conference room into iRoom with smart and intelligent features with flexibility. The 25 objects are not limited to laptop computer, iPad, tables, chairs, smartboard, but also includes loud system, cabinet, Wi-Fi system, whiteboard, sound absorption panel, project, etc. For instance, Smart Rooms system for Microsoft is chosen for our smartboard. The model shows the functional requirements of each object in the iRoom, the suggested choices of the products, and the predicted or measured behavior when the room is in occupation. The FFB matrix relationship is also applicable to the 10 stakeholders, which encompasses the clients, project manager, model facilitator, architect, contractor, quantity surveyor, purchase manager, supplier companies, subcontractor, builder, and design consultants. Say, for example, MLA Architects Limited could be the architect of this project. In addition, the construction can be divided into 3 stages. At first, the pre-construction stage involves team forming, conceptualization, criteria design and detailed design, and implementation documents. Followed by the construction stage, it includes site preparation works, renovation, and fitting out works. After the practical completion of the construction works, it goes to the completion stage, clear the site, and hand over to the client. As a whole, it is predicted the project will be completed within 108 days, with 64 days for pre-construction, 50 days for construction, and a final 8 days for the completion stage.
So here comes to our designed iRoom. As you can see from the floor plan, there will be a large smartboard in the front and 2 screens at the 2 sides of the room. Chairs and tables were placed at the centers of the room. Whiteboard and microphones are also provided for better communication during the meetings or discussions. There will also be other items like the laptop computers and iPad etc. in the room. Here is the reflected ceiling plans of our iRooms. For the iRooms, the suspended ceiling is used and it will be covered by the sound absorption panel to provide a better sound insulation. There will also be projectors mounted to the suspended ceiling at the center of the room to project things on the screen at the 2 sides of the room. And here is the front elevation showing how the rooms look like. And this is the side elevation plan of the iRooms. There are several reasons for us to use BIM modeling. First is the 3D visualization of the project. Unlike the traditional 2D plans and sketches, the entire buildings can be visualized using the virtual BIM modeling. First, it is easier to understand. Second reason is that BIM enables information sharing among different parties in the project. Once the designer, that is the architect, shares the model to different stakeholders in the construction project, they can then review the models and make comments on it instantly. Another important reason for using BIM is to identify the problem in advance during the design stage. By constructing the BIM models, we can stimulate the buildings in the realities and identify problems like crashing of the pipes in advance. Furthermore, the BIM model can be used for cost estimation and cost control. Once the model is designed, we can then insert the unit cost for different elements and estimate the total project cost. The estimated total cost can then be used for cost controlling so that the project will not be over budget. The final reason is the stimulation of the building performances. By constructing the virtual 3D model, the building performances like the heat insulation and the airflow weights inside the building can be stimulated. If the building performances are not good enough, we can then think of alternative solutions to improve the building performances. So after talking about the reasons for using 3D BIM modeling, here's come to the 3D models of our iRooms, showing how the iRoom is really look like in the realities.
There are a few problems in our iRoom and we have some proposed solutions to deal with them. The first problem is the inflexible table arrangement. The chairs and tables are not movable. It is not suitable for tutorial class, particularly on VDC or BIM training. Therefore, it is proposed to buy new chairs and tables so as to provide a flexible seating arrangement. For table, we have chosen the Recam dynamic table timetable shift type. It can float up easily and can save space when not in use. It also has 4 wheels to allow moving, and it is integrated with outlets, so different table arrangements are not restricted by power supply. For chair, A-line range 2 wheel is chosen. It gives great function as it is stackable and is only 160 m when 15 of them are stacked, and it got maximum strength with minimum weight. It is also available in 3 colors. The suggested tutorial arrangement and conference room arrangement by using the new furniture are as shown. The second feature for this problem is luminous carpet. By using the Philips luminous carpet in the room, suggested patterns for table arrangement can be shown and reduce chaos during moving tables around. Moreover, it can work as a timer for a meeting and can show the fire escape route. The second problem is inappropriate screen. The current screen can only act as a display, which is not interactive enough. Also, words shown on the screen is too small for those sitting at the back, and users need to turn their bodies in order to see the screen. Smartboard is proposed for solving this problem. Smart Room system for Microsoft Link is chosen for providing enhanced teaching and working experience. It allows multi-touch, multi-tool, which means several users can use the board at the same time, and they can touch the screen by hand or any tools. Also, it got presence detection, which will automatically switch on the board once the user enters the room. It can also control the board by some preset gesture, like zooming by 2 hands. The HT camera can capture all faces of users in the whole room and can have conference with remote partners, which save time for getting all people available. The enhanced audio can ensure effective sound coverage, while the administrative console can enhance efficiency. The second feature is the true projector and the mount. Vivid D859 projector can provide bright image, and with the universal drop ceiling projector mount, it is flexible and can rotate the projector to project to different positions. The last problem is the non-adjustable temperature. As the air conditioner is centrally controlled, it is always too cold or too hot. A thermal control panel which allows automatic temperature and relative humidity adjustment can be inserted. It can also adjust temperature ahead of arrival.
In organization model, we would like to first discuss IPD, which is Integrated Project Delivery. IPD is a project delivery approach that integrates people, system, business, structure, and practice into a project process. Our aim is to optimize project results, increase value to owner, reduce waste, and maximize efficiency. As we can see, both organization and process in POP model will coordinate and contribute in order to achieve the greatest result. As you can see in this graph, the left curve is IPD process and the right curve is traditional process. In IPD, we can see that everything will start at an early stage of the whole project in order to reduce any additional costs of changes in project, since we know that the cost of changes in later stage of the project will be much higher. By doing this, we can increase the whole value of the project. In the next graph, we can see IPD requires the contribution and coordination of every stakeholders at the beginning of the whole project. By doing so, every character will come to a consensus at the beginning of the stage, and therefore there will be fewer changes later on. We can thus achieve the aim of reducing waste and increasing efficiency. So here comes to our organization chart. As you can see in the chart, an arrow will represent a direct relationship, but a reversed arrow and a circle will represent an interrelated relationship, which means that they will discuss and coordinate and communicate together to get the final result. To discuss their functions, firstly, for the circle, they are the major stakeholders that will coordinate and cooperate in every step of the project, and they will also have their own functions in the project, which will be discussed later. And for the design consultant, he or she is responsible to cooperate with architect to design on design requirement in detailed design, which is a design process and will be covered in process model. For supplier company, they are sought by purchase manager to provide equipment and furniture supply on many stages of the project. Subcontractor is nominated by contractor to provide specific type of construction. We believe that subcontractors are professional in dealing with the specific type of construction, and in our project, they are responsible for E&M installation works and finishing. The contractor and subcontractor will also have an in-house constructor for many construction stage. Lastly, the client is responsible to specify all the requirements for the iRoom. This table is the form of organization, which means our proposed choice of different stakeholders. As you can see, some stakeholders are in-house employees, like the project manager and the purchase manager, and the other choices are based on their past experience in dealing with IPD projects, and also as they are well-known and well-experienced companies in Hong Kong. Lastly, for the behavior, we expect that the actors' conformance, which is how they fulfill their requirements in organization function, is more than 99%. For actor backlog, which is the workload that has not yet been finished, we expect they will only have maximum 3 actor backlog at every moment. We also suggest that the total cost of actors should be less than 15% of our total construction cost. We also hope that every actor will have the responsibility for at least 10% of the project's final predicted time, cost, effort, etc., as we encourage every actor to contribute.
Renovation work of the KB531 for turning into iRoom is a long and complicated process. It involves different parties and stakeholders throughout different stages for the completion of the renovation. Therefore, in order to coordinate all the works and tasks and help foresee possible risks and challenges, Gantt chart is then introduced and arrange different tasks in order, according to the priority and sequences, into a program using the Microsoft Project software. Shown by the chart, the program includes the name of tasks, the days of completion, and the starting and the finishing date. The whole project could be divided into 3 stages, which are pre-construction stage, construction stage, and the completion stage. Those stages include design drawing, renovation, fitting out works, and facility and equipment purchasing. Some of them will be overlapped with each other because they could be carried out at the same time in order to shorten the period of renovation. As the project is carried out under the concept of the integrated project delivery, some of the steps of the process will be different from the traditional construction process. The client will form the core team by selecting and negotiating with different stakeholders directly, such as architects, engineers, quantity surveyors, and contractor, etc., instead of through traditional tendering stage. And all the team members would discuss and plan the whole project from the beginning, starting from developing ideas and objectives to finalizing the detailed design as well as the completion of the renovation work. All the stakeholders could have the opportunity to involve in every stage of the project. This could help increase the efficiency and reduce disputes and delay in works, so as to decrease the time and money needed for the project.
So, after combining the 3D BIM model with the MSP Gantt chart, we can create a 4D animation that could simulate the construction and the demolition process. Here, the area shaded in red is the object that is being demolished or removed. The area in green is those who are under construction or installation. And the yellow shaded area represents the finishing works. Okay, we will now have a look on the interior of the room.
For the business purpose that the VDC models can help the manager to understand, the manager mainly got 5 management processes which are planning, organizing, leading, controlling, and taking action. For planning, the manager needs to set up goals where in the POP-FF model, the function and requirement of the products can be decided in preliminary stage. For organizing, manager needs to decide how tasks are to be done, and in the POP models process, we can use Microsoft Project integrated with the 4D model to visualize the procedure of the work. For leading, manager need to guide people and they can communicate with other parties effectively by using the 3D and the 4D model. For controlling, manager need to ensure activities are done as planned and all the 3 models can help see any deviation between the actual performance and the planned run. The manager then needs to take corrective action for any discrepancy. MSP can help find out course of action not affecting the critical path, and 3D plus 4D model can help foresee the feasibility of the action.
On top of the business perspective, risk assessment is vital to identify the potential problems to be incurred from the inception to the completion. Risk with respect to product, organization, and process has been reviewed. Critical factors with success target are firstly identified, followed by analyzing the risk factors and suggesting remedial measures. In respect of product model, as we expect the presentation tools are of good quality, it has to ensure the smart boards are functioned and connected properly. Yet, our concern is the interoperability of the smartboard apps and the VDC software. Therefore, we have to check possible clashes of the software involved before purchase. Also, smart features have to be well performed and can be used at any time. In case of any electricity shortage that may damage the device, dry cell could be used to act as a spare electricity source. In addition, it's required to double confirm the wiring system is correctly placed in a frequently maintained position. In terms of organization, one critical factor of IPD is the role distinction among different parties. It is expected all stakeholders in the IPD could result in higher productivity. However, project manager plays important roles in coordinating the scope of works of the parties and the significance in progress meeting. So, He should define the scope of works and deliverables clearly in the contract. On the other hand, since the IPD is a new procurement system that fewer professionals got similar project experience, careful selection of project team based upon the qualification and experience is thus important. Concerning the process risks, to facilitate the efficiency of communication, we could set up online meeting and a shared database to mitigate the problem of meeting location and missing data. During the course from planning to construction, it is mandated to ensure model integration by checking the format of different tools that may lead to information loss.
Next, we'll introduce the estimated budget of the project. Piece rate is used for the estimation of the building components, while time rate is used for labor works. Other items, such as contingencies and professional fees, are estimated by percentage charges, based on the sum of all addition and alteration works. The overall estimated budget is around $925,000. The category of A&A and improvement works accounts for $728,000, in which $56,000 goes to demolition works, $96,000 goes to repair works, and the remaining $576,000 goes to the fitting out works. Other costs are preliminaries, contingencies, and consultants' fees, which accounts for 8%, 8%, and 5% of the overall budget respectively.
All in all, the iRoom redevelopment could be a pioneering project in the construction industry. It promotes the use of VDC, such as BIM, and has adopted the IPD as a procurement method. By using a POP-FFB model, it helps to give a full picture of product, organization, and process prior to the commencement of the construction. In light of the functional requirement and the site constraint, products like Smartboard are carefully designed in order to facilitate information sharing and teaching efficiency. On top of this, the relationship among the stakeholders are looked in parallel with the construction process. Taking into account of the business implications, cost estimates, and the respective risks, we do recommend some suggestions to improve the current situation so as to create a better learning environment in the university. Having heard the strength and weakness of the BIM in the lecture before, this scenario provided me a platform to apply these concepts into project management. VDC and POP-FFV model is a new concept to me. Using this academic model could act as a tool to identify the aspects of products, organization, and process simultaneously. We called the new project delivery method that have been taught. We saw IPD as the most appropriate procurement method to be adopted in parallel with BIM application, in which fostered earlier communication among different stakeholders in the design stage to speed up the construction. I, as a project manager, learned to coordinate the scope of works of different professionals. For instance, I had to communicate with the purchase manager upon the product's procurement, and meanwhile to inform the model facilitator that may affect the BIM visualization. It encouraged me to learn broadly for every aspect and improved my organization and communication skills. Yet, I'm surprised of the heavy workload and everyday challenges to be encountered by the project manager, as PM was not only a person barely doing his own job, instead had to make prompt reaction to the problems to avoid delay. There was always a limitation to me to make the best way of communication. Sometimes, not all the team members could attend a meeting that might lead to less effective information sharing. Therefore, I try hard to take minutes on every meeting and send the summary of discussion into fellow teammates. Though this might not be the best method of communication, I've improved to use Google Doc to facilitate information sharing. Having learned the difficulties of being the PM, I would like to explore more on how to become a successful PM and hope to take a leading role in the future career. I spent around 14 hours a week talking with teammates about this project, 4 to 5 hours a week working alone on the modeling, 2 to 3 hours on queries. I learned to listen to queries from different stakeholders, to analyze the problems, and to send information changes to the related stakeholders promptly. I found confusing to understand the POP model in the beginning, and that might affect the beam making. However, finally, we grasped the concept of the academic model and proceeded well in the modeling.
During these projects, I have learned a lot about the VDC and POP-FFB models. Since it is new to me, I have spent quite a lot of time in investigating and understanding these models. It takes me about a week, and after understanding the models, as I work as a purchase manager, I need to think about how to implement and make use of the models in facilitating my work. Also, it takes time in exploring different products, and after confirming the product, a specific brand of it also needs to be chosen. During this process, I need to communicate with my groupmates and discuss whether those choices are feasible. Overall, we spend about 14 hours per week to discuss with my groupmates, about 10 hours per week for the POP model, and about 2 hours per week for the queries. One thing that I had learned in this model is the importance of communication. During the process of selecting products, I need to ask the architect and discuss whether my choices are feasible. Sometimes it's not feasible due to the constraint of the structure, and I need to compromise and try to think of another better option. Also, I need to ask the quantity surveyor to know about the area or number of users of our room so as to choose a suitable type of smartboard. One thing that I find confusing in this project is that sometimes I don't know about the technical side of the construction process, and there is some difficulties in understanding the installation manual. For example, when I was choosing the power socket, I was looking at an under-carpet type. However, I am confusing whether this is possible for our case, and I need to take a look at the installation manual and try to investigate it. Since it is not my strength in the technical side, I find it quite difficult and irritating in understanding them. But after spending some time on it, it is still successful for our model, and it is one of the most memorable projects with my groupmates.
In this scenario, I've been taught about some new concepts. In the process of constructing an iRoom, we have to make use of POP-FFB model. And also, we have to plan the process using a Gantt chart. After the first studio, I felt quite confusing and felt I don't know where and how to start with. Fortunately, under the effort of all of us, we figured it out and started the work. Actually, all the new concepts are kinds of tools or methods to help us organize all the elements and processes that we could think of. They help us to think more and think deeply. And finally, we could build our new iRoom with introducing different elements and plan the whole renovation process well and efficiently. I spend a lot of time in MSP process model because I'm in a role of contractor, which is responsible in planning the process. I spend 12 hours to talk with and discuss with my teammates because I have to understand their process and coordinate all the work according to the time needed for each task. For working alone, I spend 4 to 5 minutes a week on modeling and 2 hours on the queries. I'm glad that I could have my studio teammates in the group that we work on the case together by helping each other. When we encounter a problem while doing our assigned parts, others would also try to understand the situation and give their ideas and opinion so as to solve the problem together. And throughout the process, cooperation among us is very important
because every step or task in the construction process is needed to be coordinated with different stakeholders and partners, and this simulates this actual practice in the real world. I've learned a lot and earned much in working on this scenario.
Working on this task, I investigate more about innovative designs and understand more about the practical procedures of construction management. The POP model is something new for me, but it is indeed a brilliant way to seek for ideas and solve problems. POP teaches me how to consider design elements carefully and systematically. All in all, this iRoom project is a delightful and educational experience, which will be very useful for me in the future, not just for my career, but also for my life.
To me, this project is really a huge challenge, since we have to be familiar with many new concepts, like VDC, POP, FFB model, etc. It's always difficult to learn about new things, so did I in this project. However, the new concepts in a certain extent encouraged me to learn more to attempt to use them in this project. Eventually, we have learned a completely new approach, which is POP FFB model, that we can use it to deal with all other new future projects. In the project, I am responsible as modeling facilitator. I am responsible for the organization model. The model is a brief guide to show the whole arrangement in our team. Since lots of stakeholders are involved in this project, it's really difficult to classify all their relationship in a single chart. Eventually, we have created a comprehensive model by trial and error. Concerning the time I spend on the project, I've spent around 10 hours a week talking with teammates about this project, 5 hours a week working alone on the modeling, and 2 hours on queries. Concerning the time management, it's really a challenging studio to me that we only had about 4 weeks to finish our final report. Comparing with previous studio reports, the time is comparatively short. However, this challenge is thus a good way for all of us to improve our efficiency. Lastly, we have successfully finished our report on time with good quality, and I think it is a huge improvement for all of us.
In the group, I am one of the members responsible for the BIM models and 4D animation. It is time-consuming to build up a satisfactory BIM model as well as the 4D animations, since you really have to put a lot of effort to solve the problems encountered during the design stage. One of the major challenges I've encountered was to visualize the idea we have in our mind in the model. For example, we have thought of using touch screen for the lighting switches. Then I had to consider how to achieve it in the model, and it is quite a difficult part when building up the BIM model. Even though the task of designing an iRooms was somehow difficult, I've learned a lot from it. For example, I understand the importance of communications among different parties in the project team. I, as an architect in the team, have to sit down and talk with other people like the purchase managers during the design of the BIM model for the iRoom.
In this scenario, I am also responsible for building the 3D BIM model and also the 4D animation. Building the BIM model with every details of the 25 elements we adopted is not as easy as we have thought before, while combining the model with the project program into the 4D animation is even more challenging. But once getting these works done, I find it very convenient to illustrate and simulate the designs and the construction process even to those who have no knowledge about the real estate and construction industries. To build such models, I have also found that frequent and effective communication with the whole team is very important. Like, I have to know which specifications of the objects being placed into the model, then I need to know its usage and hence where it is placed. I must be also aware of which construction stage it will be installed and also its costs. Therefore, I do believe that in this scenario, or in a similar case in the real world, communication is the thing that is really essential to our works.